If anyone ever asks what kind of football Nottingham Forest play, the kind that sees them outperform Manchester City, Chelsea, Newcastle, Aston Villa, even Man United, I'd simply show them the first 17 minutes of last night's rather amusing clash between Forest and Tottenham. In that short spell, Forest showcased their entire repertoire, direct, precise, and lightning-quick attacking, and for the remaining 73 minutes, they highlighted another formidable strength, their famed defensive wall this season. The kind of defense that lets you sleep soundly at night after watching just those opening 17 minutes. Nottingham Forest gave their fans a truly magical evening, defeating Tottenham Hotspur on their own turf. They reignited their Champions League hopes with a compelling performance. It didn't take long to show their intent. Just 5 minutes in, Elias Anderson fired in a thunderous volley, aided by a deflection off Rodrigo Bentancur. But no one at Forest cared how it went in. The ball was in the net, and they were in control. Tottenham, meanwhile, remain a team trapped in their own inconsistency. Despite dominating possession and pressing high, what they sorely lacked was sharpness at the decisive moments. And Forest, ice-cold and clinical, delivered a harsh lesson. A moment of space, a killer pass, Anthony Elanga teed up Chris Wood, who powered in a header to make it to 2-0 after just 16 minutes. That was Wood's 19th Premier League goal of the season, a clear testament to his irreplaceable role in Forest's remarkable campaign. Spurs had chances to pull one back, but Matt Stell fired wide from close range, and Richarlison headed over on a night he was clearly desperate for redemption. In the second half, Spurs piled on the pressure, but Forest stood firm with decisive defensive interventions. Harry Toffolo cleared off the line, and Murillo pulled off a spectacular block on Richarlison. Though Richarlison eventually scored in the 87th minute, it was far too late. Forest tightened their lines like true warriors and saw out the win to the roars of their traveling fans. This win not only saw Forest return to third place, but also breathed new life into their Champions League dream. They're proving to all of England that quality can trump quantity. No need for endless possession or tiki-taka reminiscent of Barcelona's golden days. Every attack is meaningful. While Tottenham fired shot after shot searching for goals, Forest coolly got the job done with just 3 efforts on target, 2 of which found the net. A brand of football best described as no-nonsense efficiency. Chris Wood's header epitomized this philosophy, nothing flashy, just precise timing and execution. Tottenham kept the ball as if practicing rondos, only to be schooled by Forest in the eternal truth. Possession doesn't mean control. Spurs fired off 22 attempts with an expected goals tally of 2.4, numbers that scream 3-0 win. Yet they left with only a consolation goal. They had nearly 70% possession and occupied 80% of the pitch. Forest were forced to camp deep, but it all amounted to nothing. Forest, with just 31.3% possession and a modest XG of 0.42, remained unfazed because they already had their 2-goal cushion. You might even wonder if Tottenham were trying to control the game or simply their own downfall. Look at Forest's pass map, look at their average positions. 9 of their 11 players held a deep line throughout. This season, Forest have no interest in battling for possession with the big boys. They focus on solid defending, explosive transitions, and ruthless finishing. What's most admirable is Forest's maturity under Nuno Espirito Santo. This is no longer a naive side. It's a team that knows exactly what it needs to do in every situation. Dropping out of the top 5 last week, no problem. Visiting a big team like Spurs with everyone expecting them to win? They stuck to the plan, executed it flawlessly, and went home with the points. Postecoglou maybe moaned that Spurs beat themselves, but the truth is they exposed all their old flaws. No ideas against tight defenses, lack of precision in the box, and a severe lack of character to turn games around when things go wrong. That was Tottenham's 18th league defeat of the season, a bitter pill for a club that fancies itself a European contender. Even worse, the stats show this is their worst season for losses since 2003 to 2004, the season they nearly went down. Now, Europa League is their only faint hope to salvage a disastrous campaign. Andrei Postecoglou has now officially surpassed Pochettino in Premier League defeats, a record no one at Spurs wants to talk about. From top four Regulus to the league's most inconsistent side in nearly 2 decades, it's a stark decline. Worse still, the season isn't even over. Meanwhile, Forest are throwing open the doors to Europe with a simple yet deadly formula: defend well, counter with venom, take your chances. No need for fancy football. They're charging ahead with a gritty, distinctive identity. Murillo, at just 22, was immense. More than a wall, he led the backline like a true commander: 11 clearances, 5 successful tackles, 2 halves aerial duels, and 5/8 ground duels won. He didn't overcomplicate things: 30 passes at 70% accuracy in a setup where Forest willingly ceded possession. No flashy runs, just timely interceptions, solid blocks, and decisive clearances, calm, composed, and brutally effective. After this silent breakout season, Murillo's performance in London has made him a name to remember. Forest are truly a Premier League anomaly. In a league obsessed with possession, intricate play, and pressing, Forest go old school: deep blocks, long balls, and directness. But they don't just survive this way, they thrive. After a confusing dip from 2nd to 6th, they've come storming back. A counterattack not just on the pitch, but on the table. This momentum will fuel them for the rest of the season. The Champions League dream is more vivid than ever. And if a classic, hard-nosed English side like Forest marches into Europe, don't be surprised if they cause an absolute stir across the continent. As for Tottenham, on paper, this defeat isn't disastrous. They've mathematically secured survival, and Europa League is still within reach. But when you dominate possession, rack up nearly 30 shots, and come away with just 1 goal, that's comedy of the highest order. A quintessential Tottenham display: all possession, all effort, and still beaten cleanly. That's just how it goes. Tottenham have encapsulated their entire season in one match: lots of attacking effort, little to show for it, and a defense that's just as shaky. For Forest, this one felt like a liberation, from a rough patch and into a hopeful, roaring finish.